Hey guys, it's Mike here in Taiwan. I think it's officially summer. It's hot, but it's not really that humid yet, where I'm at, anyways. And a lot of people they're off, schools or whatnot, right? So kind of get that vibe that people are just, it's like the end of summer where people they're just doing whatever they want, and they're not really thinking about the future. Next week we actually have a long weekend, so I'm pretty happy about that. That's the thing in Taiwan, is that you're always going to get, like, now and then, like a long weekend. I was asking some people, I guess, online about what they think about long weekends or typhoon days and stuff like that. And it's actually funny that 50% of them said that typhoon day is basically a day off, and they say we deserve a day off because we work too hard, right? And there's always like this comparison between Americans and I guess Taiwanese or whatever, that who works harder, who gets more holidays off, blah blah blah, right? And it's kind of weird. I guess I don't want to like say like this Taiwan mentality, but they're always like comparing to like other people, or comparing within themselves, or something like that, which I think is like really futile. I've talked about this before, where I guess Oprah Winfrey or something, she's like saying like stop comparing yourself to other people. I think she was like a 19 or like a 20-year-old like anchor woman, like working at like this small broadcasting station with like this idea that she was going to be like a newscaster or something like that, right? Which was like really unheard of, like at that time. I guess there's again, if you think about demographics, first of all, she's a woman. Second of all, like at the time, she was like a minority. Like people wouldn't really call it that like these days now, and nobody really cares about like what race you are in America, anyways, right? But I guess like in that kind of sense, she was like a pioneer, and in Taiwan, it's some ways it's kind of like the wild wild west, but at the same time, like it's not, because in Taiwan, people are always like looking for like new ideas or new ways to think about something and do something. But at the same time, there's always people that are always going to do things the old way. Over in Tainan, which is like this place over in the south, is kind of interesting. I saw a story where they have like kind of these like weird pegs in the middle of the road, and the pegs, I didn't really understand what they're for, but they're actually for so people don't like make these crazy like wide U-turns, or like they don't make like these crazy U-turns or whatever, right? And but people will like do them anyways. And actually what happened was these truck drivers, which I'd probably say they're probably all over 50 years old, they actually just went over these pegs, and like thank God they weren't metal, and like obviously the trucks are really big, so they can go through the metal anyways, right? But they're all rubber, and then they got destroyed because they just ran over them. And I could understand why, because the trucks are really wide anyway, so they're just gonna take up the whole road, right? But it's kind of like whoever had that idea for them to, or whoever's driving, to basically go a little bit more to the right and not like be so much in the middle. But the trucks don't care about that. They just take up the whole lane, and they're really wide. So it's kind of like they have this mentality, well, that this is the way that we always did it. My truck is really big, so just get out of my way. And so it's like you're wondering, like, can they be more adaptable? Like, can they change towards like different situations? And I hate to be so, I don't know, like make stereotypes about people, but like I feel like they can't. It's like they have this idea of the way that things used to be before, especially in like small towns in Taiwan, and it's always going to be like that, so they won't change. Is that necessarily the right way to think about it? Probably not, but I guess it is what it is. So I always have this idea with foreigners that I tell them, hey, look, if you want to get a job that you can work at for a long time, work in a small town. But the problem is that they've already lived that way that they've lived for the last like 10, 15, 20 years. So you're going to have to adapt to the way that they adapt, to the way that they live. You're going to have to say the things that they say, eat the food that they eat. And you're going to, now and then you're going to encounter like some person who's just kind of weird. I'll give you two stories. I guess this is kind of like my opportunity to tell stories, right? So these two stories. One is in my building, 2 floors above me is like this old guy. You guys, you don't even know who this guy is, so it doesn't really matter. But so this old guy, he's always like, he's got like a frown on his face. The last time I saw him, he's like looking on his phone and just like watching some video really loudly in the elevator. There was too many people last time in the elevator, so he got out and he walked downstairs. And he's just like this like really grumpy old man. And I never really want to be like that, right? But, I don't know what it is. Maybe he feels that we or people around him don't give him what he wants. People around him are like not respecting him or like whatever, but at the same time he doesn't want to give respect, so it's kind of weird, right? Another guy, I've told this story before, was there's a crazy old guy over at some station. It's like in the north part of Taiwan, right? And I forget, it starts like some station that starts with a Q or something. I don't know how to pronounce Q in Chinese, but so he's smoking, and there's like a no smoking sign there, and he's smoking like right underneath it, right? And I snap a picture of him, and then he snapped a picture of me, and he's like, I'm gonna tell on you and blah blah blah. And it was just like, okay, we're kind of like these kids like going back and forth saying that I'm gonna tell on you, I'm gonna tell on you. And they really don't care. The convenience store that I go to all the time, yesterday I caught this like old dude smoking, and maybe it's like I'm complaining about like old dudes all the time, but I don't know what it is about me, but I feel like if people don't want to like respect other people at all, don't want to follow the rules, I'm like, well, what is your problem, right? But there's a kind of a different. I was asking AI about what is it about like this culture in here that is so different, and like something that a lot of foreigners, I guess, would be really annoyed about. Okay, so like for example, I asked AI why is it that people in Taiwan, they always want to go first, right? And I was thinking, okay, that's pretty rude, right? But it's not, because I come from an individualistic culture. So if I say like go first, it's like a sign of respect, right? But the problem is that in a culture like Taiwan, where it's more about the group, people are going to. It's very not efficient. It's very inefficient, right? So you tell the other person go first, and then it like goes and it makes everybody all in the back all slow. So everybody here is thinking about efficiency. What's the fastest way that I can go to some place, right? So they're not going to wait for you. They're going to go first. They're going to block you first so they can go, so then you can go after them. If you're a foreigner, especially and coming to Taiwan, you're going to be like, well, why are these people like all disrespecting me? But it's not about you. It's about like the group and the collective culture, and that's why a lot of people I'm finding are just like they'll stay here for like a year or two and think that Taiwan's like a really great idea, and then they'll just take off. And it doesn't even matter like what place they're from. Canada, North America, United States, Philippines, whatever. It's just kind of like this pattern, and it's because there's something about the culture in Taiwan that they can't really put their finger on, and they can't really kind of adapt to. There's the first one obviously is language. The second of all is even if I can try to speak the language, will people understand me? And can I communicate with other people? And there's like so many like what if questions, like what if this happens, what if that happens, and that's what I've kind of been struggling with these couple of days. But I mean, there's other things too, like what am I going to do in the next like 10 years? I know that probably I'm going to be teaching English, and I'm trying to find like more ways where I can efficiently figure out how to put my time in certain places, and dedicate my time to things that I really want to know. And doing some training, but I think that there's still a little bit more to, there's kind of a saying in English, there's like, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, right? Like I feel like I'm kind of like in that right now, where I'll deal with like some certain things only when they happen, but I don't think that's a really kind of good way to talk about life. It's not really a good philosophy. So guys, I hope that was useful for you. I'm trying to be a little bit more positive, but I don't want to like talk about like some old dudes and like smoking over like a train station, because like who cares, right? Honestly, it's like people like living rent free in your head. Like why do you want to care about something? And so try to throw that stuff away. Go ahead and meditate. Go do some yoga. Go relax. Maybe run a couple laps, and then you'll be fine. See you guys later. Bye.